so what I did is I just basically took the drawing that I gave you like this, and I laid it out on here, put two 22-foot sidewalls and a roof. And there is the approximate size, just looking at it as a simple rectangle, okay, of my terminal building. So if I put that on my site, I start to get an idea of how big my terminal is in relationship to the site area. Okay, so within this overall site, I still have to accommodate all 4 of my buses and a canopy to cover them, and I have to create an entry plaza. Okay, and so that basically should start to inform your decision-making process. Okay, so there it is. I've even shown the entry. I'll label it so that you guys can understand that. So this is entry, indoors, outdoor. Okay, so essentially, if this was a building, there would be 2 glass walls, one partway in there and one partway back here. And they'd have a door in them, so you would walk up, and if it's downpouring rain, you would go, oh, I finally got out of the rain. Then you would go through a door, buy your ticket, go to the bathroom, get yourself a margarita or some peanuts, and then go sit down and wait. If you happen to be one of those people that chooses to smoke, you would go out to the outdoor waiting area where you could smoke a cigarette outside and destroy everybody else's environment. Okay? So that's it. That was all. This is using the exact same technique that you guys have used to cut the previous things. I made floor, wall, roof. Done. Okay? Now, so where do we go from here? Is it down to the lake, I fear? If you recall, I went through this process of morphing, correct? So this is what my plan is, and so I need to now take this, and in the next iteration, I need to morph it so that it becomes an elongated polygon that tapers. Okay? So I'm going to do that on trace. Now that I have this, you guys will be doing exactly the same thing. Incidentally, for those of you that do not know, this is the 16th scale side, and if you're having a hard time reading it, I might suggest that you do something like this. You might put a 1/6 here, and then a 32 here, and then a 48 here. Okay? So I just wrote right over top of my numbers, because from 0 to the first big line where it says 1 is actually 16. Okay, I'll hold that up to the thing so that it can see it. And then the next big line where it says 2 is actually 32. And then the next one over is 48, I think, right? 48? 16 plus 32? 16, 32, yep, 48. And I forgot what the next increment is. Math. 48, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64. So the next one is 64. Look at that. There's a 4 there. So I can just put a 6 in front of it. All right. So see? 0, 16, 32, 48, 64. 8. Any questions? All right. So like I said, my next step is going to be to create a simple tapering form over top of this thing here. Okay? So I'm going, let me grab a triangle. That thing can see this clearly? Somewhat? All right. So I'm going to take and I'm going to chop off a little over here and add a little in over there. And probably do the same thing here. I'll chop off a little there and add a little bit in here. And I'll do that going this direction. And overall, right, if I said, does that and that seem to have about the same size, you guys should probably look at it and go, yeah, they look like they're about the same size. It doesn't look like it's 2 times as big. It doesn't look like it's half as big. They're about the same size because when you lay it over top of it, I removed a little here, I removed a little here, and I removed a little here, right? But then I added it in here, here, and here. It's rough. It's not perfect. It's just a rough estimation. Okay, how many minutes am I at? 6? So from there, I might want to say, all right, why don't I put a bend in one side of it? So I can take another piece of paper and I could lay it over top of it. I'm being very generous with this paper. I'll set that over it. And I'm going to try and put a bend in on the outside here. So I'll go to here, then I'll go to here. Keep the front edge the same, and probably keep this edge the same. So there's my second shape. There's my first shape, my second shape, my third shape, right? Now, I might really get jiggy with this thing. I'm going to make it to where it has a kink on both sides. Okay? So, put these back one on top of each other. Put them back over top of that. And here we go. All right, so now another piece out. I like this side, I'm happy with that. Happy with that side, but over here I want to put a little bit of a bend in it. So I'm going to take a little bit away down here and add it in right there. And do the same thing here. And I'm going to finally end up with that shape right there. Okay? So there's that. And can you guys see, does it see all 3 of these? Or all 4 of these? You guys can see the metamorphosis that's taken place in plan. Now, if this one looks like this, what does that one look like? What does this one look like? What does this one look like? This one probably will look a lot like some of the forms you've already made. This one's going to be a little bit more complicated, and that one's going to be a lot more complicated. Okay? Any questions? So you are all to go through this process right now at your desks. Do not finish building this. I already did it. You will have to do that for homework now. All right? I want these 3. You already have this one. I want these additional drawings completed in the next 5 minutes. Stop.